In a world where interactions are increasingly digital, it's crucial to understand the characters that cross our paths. Today, we dive deep into the human psyche to uncover the subtle yet potent signs of a dangerous individual. It's not always the shadowy figures in dark alleys. Often it's the person you least expect, the one hidden in plain sight. Stoicism, an ancient philosophy, teaches us the importance of observation and understanding of human behavior, not just for judgment, but for protection. Stoics urge us to look beyond appearances, to see the signs before they unfold into actions. As we explore these signs, remember, knowledge isn't just power, it's protection. It's a shield crafted not from fear, but from wisdom and discernment. So let's arm ourselves with the insights that could safeguard our peace and perhaps even our lives, as we identify the 10 key traits of potentially dangerous individuals lurking in our everyday lives. If you appreciate the insights we're sharing here, a simple free favor I'll ask from you is to hit the subscribe button. And please, stick with us throughout. Every segment of this video is crafted to enhance your understanding and safety. Sign number 1. Manipulative behavior. Picture someone who seems to always have the right words at the right time, not simply to uplift, but subtly to bend your will to theirs. It starts innocently enough, perhaps with small favors or decisions. But over time, this manipulation becomes a constant thread woven into every interaction. They might use flattery, guilt, or even obligation to steer you towards their desired outcome, subtly eroding your ability to make independent choices. Stoicism teaches us about the power of our own minds, our capacity to choose our responses rather than simply react. In the face of manipulative behavior, a Stoic would advise us to maintain a detachment from our immediate emotional responses. Why? Because when we pause and reflect, we gain the ability to see the manipulative tactics for what they are, external attempts to influence our internal decisions. This perspective isn't about dismissing our emotions, but rather understanding them as signals rather than dictates. By doing so, we can hold our ground more firmly and act according to our own rational decisions. We learn to recognize when our strings are being pulled and, more importantly, how to cut those strings and reclaim our autonomy. As we discuss these manipulative behaviors, consider how they make you feel and why. Is it a twinge of guilt, a brush of flattery? Recognize these feelings, but don't let them cloud your judgment. Instead, use them as clues to the manipulator's game. In doing so, you embody the Stoic ideal, not a pawn to external forces, but a fortress impervious to the whims of another. This approach not only protects you, but also empowers you to lead your life with intention and integrity. Sign number 2. Emotional manipulation. Imagine a scenario where someone consistently pulls at your heartstrings or triggers your insecurities to serve their purpose. This might manifest as a friend who always has a sob story right when they need a favor, or a partner who overplays their disappointment when you set boundaries. Emotional manipulation is a sophisticated form of control. It's like being a puppet in someone else's hands, where your feelings are the strings. Stoicism offers a robust shield against this. The philosophy encourages us to separate our internal world from external influences. This is crucial when dealing with emotional manipulation, because it compels us to evaluate our reactions. Are we responding to a genuine need, or are we being coaxed into feeling a certain way? Stoics strive for internal harmony and resilience, qualities that help us resist being swayed by undue emotional appeals. By practicing Stoicism, you can develop the ability to discern the true nature of your emotions. Is this guilt I'm feeling my own, or has it been planted there by someone else's expectations? Is my sympathy being invoked genuinely, or am I being maneuvered into a specific action? When you start asking these questions, you begin to dismantle the manipulator's influence over you. Remember, it's not about suppressing your emotions, it's about understanding them. A Stoic uses reason to navigate through emotional waters, ensuring that they react not out of immediate feeling, but from a place of balanced, thoughtful consideration. This mental discipline frees you from being unduly influenced by others' emotional games and allows you to maintain genuine, healthy relationships based on mutual respect, not emotional debt. This isn't just self-protection, it's self-empowerment, fostering a life where your emotional integrity is intact and cherished. Sign number 3. Isolation tactics. Picture someone who slowly, subtly begins to edge between you and your support network. It could be a partner who suggests your friends don't really understand you like they do, or a family member who subtly criticizes those you are close to, planting seeds of doubt about their intentions. This manipulation isn't overtly hostile, it's often cloaked in concern or love, making it particularly insidious and hard to confront. Stoics teach us the importance of community and support systems as external manifestations of our internal values and judgments. They remind us that true independence is not about being isolated, but about choosing those who truly support and enrich our lives. From a Stoic perspective, isolation tactics threaten our personal moral judgment by severing the relationships that reflect and reinforce our values. Stoics would advise us to be wary of any individual who encourages us to cut off these connections, as it is a sign that they may be trying to exert control. It's important to assess whether someone's advice to distance ourselves from others is truly for our benefit, or if it's for their gain. When faced with potential isolation tactics, a Stoic would counsel us to maintain and strengthen our bonds with others, recognizing these connections as vital to our well-being and resilience. They would encourage us to reflect deeply on the reasons behind our relationships and to trust in our capacity to judge who is genuinely for us. By upholding our social bonds, we not only resist manipulative isolation, but also affirm our commitment to living a life aligned with our values. Reflecting on this, if you ever feel pressured to isolate from those you trust, take it as a critical moment to pause and consult your inner compass. This is not about defiance for its own sake, but about safeguarding your personal domain of freedom, your right to choose your company and your influences. In doing so, you honor both your Stoic principles and your innate social nature. Sign number 4. Inconsistent behavior. Imagine dealing with someone whose words and actions don't line up. One day, they're supportive and kind, and the next, they're distant or dismissive without clear reason. This kind of inconsistency can be confusing and is often a deliberate tactic to keep you off balance. It's like walking on shifting sands, never quite knowing what to expect. This unpredictability can be deeply unsettling and is a classic hallmark of manipulative individuals. Stoics strive for internal consistency as part of their virtue. They seek to align their thoughts, words, and actions harmoniously. When faced with someone whose behavior is wildly inconsistent, a Stoic might view this as a crucial indicator of the person's lack of virtue and integrity. This doesn't mean a snap judgment or immediate withdrawal, but rather a reasoned reflection on the implications of these discrepancies. A Stoic would advise us to observe and reflect rather than react immediately. By doing so, we can maintain our inner equilibrium and not be swayed by every change in someone else's demeanor or actions. This measured response allows us to assess whether these inconsistencies are simply human flaws or signs of a deeper manipulative intent. The key here is to remain true to your principles, to hold steady to your internal compass, even in the face of external inconsistency. Consider the Stoic practice of focusing on what is within our control. While we cannot control another's behavior, we can control our reactions to it. We can choose to respond in ways that uphold our dignity and peace of mind. If someone's inconsistency is designed to manipulate or control, recognizing that fact empowers us not to engage with the games being played. We can then decide whether to address the behavior directly, set firmer boundaries, or perhaps distance ourselves if necessary. Inconsistency in someone's actions and words can serve as a warning sign that requires careful attention. By applying Stoic wisdom, we can remain centered and clear-headed, making decisions that protect our well-being while adhering to our values of honesty and integrity. Sign number 5. Narcissism. Narcissism isn't just about self-love. It's a deeper psychological trait where individuals see their own needs and perspectives as overwhelmingly more significant than those of others. This can manifest in a lack of empathy, a sense of entitlement, and frequent disregard for other people's feelings or needs. Picture someone in your life who seems to have an inexhaustible need for admiration and attention. Their interactions might often revolve around their achievements, their desires, or their problems, rarely acknowledging yours unless it serves their ends. Stoicism, with its focus on virtue and community, offers a compelling antidote to narcissistic tendencies. Stoics believe in the development of self-awareness and self-control as a means to live harmoniously within a community. They teach us that true self-esteem comes from our actions being in line with moral virtues, not from external validation. For those dealing with narcissistic individuals, Stoicism encourages a return to these core values: wisdom, justice, courage, and moderation. A Stoic approach to handling a narcissist involves understanding the root of their behavior, often a profound sense of insecurity masked by their outward bravado. While it's challenging, Stoicism teaches us to respond with empathy and patience, recognizing that their behavior is ultimately harmful to themselves as well. However, Stoicism also emphasizes protecting one's inner peace and moral integrity, which means setting boundaries with those who consistently exhibit narcissistic behaviors. This isn't about punishment or distancing out of spite, but about preserving one's own well-being in the face of behaviors that can be emotionally draining or manipulative. Furthermore, Stoicism helps us to detach from the need to change the narcissist, focusing instead on how we can respond in ways that are within our control, calm, composed, and with a clear understanding of our own values. We are reminded that our worth is not determined by how we are treated by someone with narcissistic traits. Instead, our worth comes from our capacity to live true to our principles, regardless of external circumstances. By applying these Stoic principles, we can navigate relationships with narcissistic individuals more effectively. We learn not to feed into their need for constant attention and admiration, and to protect our energy by not getting overly involved in the emotional chaos they often create. This stance isn't about cold indifference, but about a compassionate detachment that allows us to interact with them in a way that is honest and integrity-filled, yet safeguarding our emotional health. Sign number 6. Aggression. This sign is crucial because it goes beyond simple personality clashes. Aggression can manifest as both a verbal and physical threat to your well-being. Picture someone who uses their anger as a weapon. They might raise their voice frequently, interrupt you, or even resort to physical intimidation to assert dominance. This behavior can make any interaction feel like walking on eggshells, as you may never know what will trigger their anger next. From a Stoic perspective, aggression is a fundamental violation of rational and social harmony. Stoicism teaches that true strength lies in self-control and rationality, not in overpowering others. Stoics strive to remain calm in the face of provocation, viewing aggression as a weakness a failure to control one's emotions. Marcus Aurelius believed that the best revenge is not to become like the aggressor. Therefore, when dealing with an aggressive individual, a Stoic might focus on maintaining their composure and responding with reason rather than reacting impulsively. However, Stoicism does not advocate for passive acceptance of harm. It teaches us to protect our inner peace by choosing how we respond to aggression. If someone is being verbally aggressive, we can choose to disengage rather than escalate the situation. In situations where physical aggression is a threat, prioritizing safety and seeking help becomes essential. A Stoic approach in such scenarios involves making calculated, rational decisions about how to protect oneself, rather than responding with similar hostility. Moreover, Stoicism encourages us to reflect on what triggers aggressive behavior in others. Often, such actions stem from deep-seated fear, insecurity, or pain. Understanding this can foster a sense of pity rather than anger, allowing us to see the aggressor as someone struggling to manage their emotions. This insight doesn't justify their actions, but it can help us respond to them with a balanced perspective, minimizing the emotional impact on our lives. Dealing with aggression effectively requires a blend of empathy, strategic disengagement, and assertive boundary setting. By applying Stoic principles, we learn not only to protect ourselves from immediate harm, but also to cultivate an environment where rational and respectful interactions are prioritized, reducing the overall presence of aggression in our lives. Sign number 7. Victim mentality. Imagine someone who consistently portrays themselves as the perpetual victim, no matter the circumstance. This isn't just about seeking sympathy, it's a strategy that manipulates perceptions, making it challenging to address their behavior without appearing to be the aggressor. They often deflect responsibility, making it difficult for others to hold them accountable, creating a narrative where they are always the wronged party. Stoicism provides a thoughtful approach to handling such situations. Stoics teach that external circumstances do not harm us. Rather, it is our interpretation of these events that can cause us distress. This philosophy encourages us to look beyond the surface and understand the deeper motivations behind someone's victim mentality. It's often a manifestation of their inability to take responsibility for their actions or to feel in control of their life. By constantly shifting blame, they avoid facing their shortcomings and the discomfort of growth. A Stoic approach involves acknowledging the challenges the individual perceives, yet maintaining a clear boundary between understanding and enabling. It's important to empathize without becoming embroiled in their narrative. This means offering support while encouraging accountability, fostering an environment where constructive feedback is given and received openly. Stoics believe in the virtue of truth and honesty, and by adhering to these principles, we can help guide someone out of the victim mindset by encouraging them to see situations more objectively. Furthermore, Stoicism emphasizes our responsibility to our own mental peace. When interacting with someone who has a victim mentality, it's crucial to protect our well-being by not allowing their perspective to distort our reality. We must remain firm in our understanding and convictions, ensuring that our actions reflect our values and not reactive responses to manipulative behaviors. Dealing with a victim mentality through a Stoic lens teaches us the balance between compassion and detachment. We learn to offer help without getting dragged into emotional turmoil, promoting a healthier dynamic that encourages personal responsibility and growth, both for ourselves and the individual, displaying these traits. Sign number 8. Superiority complex. This is a trait where an individual consistently believes they are better, smarter, or more important than others, often expressing disdain for those they consider inferior. This mindset doesn't just strain relationships, it creates a divisive atmosphere where genuine connection and mutual respect are nearly impossible. People with a superiority complex often expect special treatment and may become indignant if they feel they're not receiving the deference they believe they deserve. Stoicism offers profound insights into dealing with this trait. Stoics advocate for humility and the equality of all people in terms of moral worth. They teach that true superiority is achieved through virtue and wisdom, not social status or wealth. A person with a Stoic mindset understands that everyone has something valuable to offer and that learning from others is a lifelong process. This perspective is grounding. It reminds us that we are all part of the human community, each with our own strengths and weaknesses. When interacting with someone exhibiting a superiority complex, a Stoic approach involves maintaining one's composure and not engaging in power struggles or ego battles. Stoicism teaches us not to take arrogance personally. Rather, we see it as an expression of the other person's inner turmoil or insecurity. By responding with calmness and not feeding into their need for superiority, we can sometimes encourage a more balanced interaction. Moreover, Stoics focus on self-improvement rather than trying to diminish others to boost their self-esteem. When faced with someone who has a superiority complex, we can use the interaction as an opportunity to practice patience, understanding, and perhaps to gently challenge their views in a respectful and thoughtful manner. Stoicism encourages us to lead by example, showing through our actions that a calm and balanced demeanor is more effective and rewarding than one built on self-aggrandizement. Dealing with a superiority complex through Stoicism involves a deep understanding of equality and the transient nature of external achievements. It teaches us to anchor our self-worth in our moral values rather than comparative metrics, and in doing so, provide a subtle, enduring example to those who may feel compelled to assert their dominance in less constructive ways. This approach doesn't just help diffuse tension, it fosters a more inclusive and respectful environment. Sign number 9. Jealousy and envy. Picture someone who seems perpetually discontented with what others have, whether it's their success, relationships, or possessions. This person might downplay others' achievements, spread negativity, or even sabotage others' efforts out of a sense of envy. Jealousy and envy are destructive emotions that not only harm relationships, but also corrode the inner peace of the person harboring these feelings. From a Stoic perspective, jealousy and envy are viewed as irrational and self-harming emotions rooted in misguided values. Stoics believe that our contentment should come from within, based on our virtues and our control over our own actions, rather than external circumstances or comparisons with others. They teach that the good life depends on our internal moral state, not on external possessions or status. When faced with jealousy or envy, a Stoic approach encourages us to focus on gratitude and the cultivation of personal excellence. Instead of fixating on what others have, Stoics would advise us to appreciate what we possess and work on improving ourselves. This aligns with the Stoic principle of focusing on what we can control, rather than expending energy on what is beyond our reach or irrelevant to our moral self. In dealing with a person who exhibits jealousy and envy, Stoicism teaches us to respond with empathy and understanding, recognizing that these emotions often stem from insecurity or dissatisfaction with one's own life. By embodying a spirit of generosity and non-competitiveness, we can potentially inspire others to reflect on their own attitudes and perhaps reconsider their approach to life and happiness. Moreover, Stoicism advises us to guard against letting ourselves be influenced by others' jealous or envious behaviors. It teaches us resilience, allowing us to remain unaffected by the negative energies of others, maintaining our focus on our own path and personal development. This not only helps in cultivating a healthy self-image, but also promotes a more supportive and less competitive community. Handling jealousy and envy with Stoic wisdom involves turning inward to our own virtues and outward with compassion and understanding. This approach not only helps mitigate the harmful impacts of such emotions, but also fosters an environment where individuals are encouraged to be the best versions of themselves, free from the constraints of comparison and resentment. Sign number 10. Lack of empathy. Imagine someone who seems unable to connect with or understand the emotions of others. They might dismiss your feelings as irrelevant or overreactive, or they could overlook the emotional distress of others entirely, focusing solely on logic or their own needs. This lack of empathy not only makes meaningful relationships difficult, but can also lead to a cold and isolating environment for everyone involved. Stoicism, while often misunderstood as promoting emotional detachment, actually offers a valuable perspective on empathy. Stoics strive for an understanding of human nature and emotions, fostering a rational and compassionate response to the suffering of others. They believe in the importance of community and support, recognizing that our lives are interconnected and that the well-being of others directly impacts our own. In a Stoic approach to a lack of empathy, one would be encouraged to cultivate their ability to understand and share the feelings of others, not necessarily through emotional contagion, but through a deep rational comprehension of human frailties and needs. Stoics practice prosoph, or attentive awareness, which involves being mindful of our thoughts and reactions and extending this awareness to the emotions and needs of others around us. When dealing with someone who exhibits a lack of empathy, Stoicism teaches us to lead by example. By demonstrating empathy ourselves, we can sometimes inspire it in others. This involves actively listening, validating others' feelings, and showing genuine concern and support. The Stoic concept of sympatheia, or mutual interdependence, underscores the idea that by helping to strengthen the emotional understanding of those around us, we contribute to a more harmonious and supportive community. Furthermore, Stoicism encourages us to remain patient and non-judgmental toward those who seem lacking in empathy. It's possible that their emotional responses have been conditioned by experiences or inherent traits that limit their capacity for empathy. Rather than condemning this lack, Stoics would advise us to provide an example of compassionate rationality, offering insights into the benefits of emotional connection without forcing change. Thank you for joining us today. As we navigate the complexities of human behavior, remember, the strength of your character is measured not by the absence of challenges, but by your response to them. Embrace the wisdom of Stoicism, enrich your understanding, and transform challenges into stepping stones towards personal growth. Please take a moment to watch one of the suggested videos on the screen to continue your journey with us. Thank you for being a part of Stoic Journal, where wisdom meets daily life. Together, let's cultivate a life of virtue and tranquility.